Good evening and welcome to WOSFL Weekly Season 2, Episode 2, Sunday night, 7 o'clock. You know where we are. Delighted to be joined this weekend by Knightswood manager Michael Pender. Michael, how are you?
Evening, Jonny. Delighted to be back on, and all good here, thank you.
Good. Glad to hear it, especially after a good week for you as well. Victory during the week and victory yesterday. You'll be a happy man now.
A lot happier than I was this time last week anyway, Jonny. So it wasn't the best start for us last weekend. It took us a wee bit of a surprise. Not the result, just the performance. So it was important for us to bounce back midweek and try and carry that on yesterday down against Dean and the boys at Girvan, which is never an easy place to visit anyway, is it? So we got the sunshine and managed to get the points and head back up the road.
The sun always shines down at Girvan. It's a beautiful setting, isn't it? With the hills all behind the park and stuff like that. It's
magic. It's a lovely time of year to get the guys down there, and a tough team to play with. Dean and the guys down there were very welcoming, and it was a good afternoon. Listen, tough, as I say, always tough down there, but it was a nice afternoon. It was good to see the guys. They were very welcoming to us as well.
Aye, great people down there. We'll come on to that a bit later on, Michael. But I know they're amazing people down in Girvan. They've got a lot of kind of people that I know down there. But great to have you with us. Great to have everybody with us as well that's watching on YouTube. If you're watching live, remember, please get involved. We always welcome it. Questions, comments on your team's performance, your team's start to the season. What you thinking? Are you panicking? Are you popping? Are you getting the champagne on ice already after 3 games? Please let us know in the comments. We'll try and get to as many of them if you can. If you get any questions at all for Michael, you want to ask about his team or about his aspirations for the season, please again get in touch. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Pyramid Promotions channel. It's much appreciated. We really do appreciate it. If you want to help us out even more by becoming a member, then you can. Doesn't cost a lot of money, less than probably a cup of coffee. So we would really appreciate it. It would really help us with all the kind of content that we're trying to get out for you. We've got the Saturday show. We're due back soon. We East End Community Radio. And we've also got the Football League shows, the Premiership show, and Paul's kind of West of Scotland build up as well. So loads and loads of content there for you. If you can support us, it's much appreciated. If you're listening on audio form, again, this should be available to download by tomorrow morning. Please rate and review on your podcast network if you can. It really goes a long way to helping us. And finally, just a quick shout out to our sponsors, Roxburgh Insurance Brokers. Really appreciate them sponsoring the channel. So thanks very much to them. If you're needing any insurance needs, then get in touch with the guys at Roxburgh. And of course, VSN Sport. Gary at VSN will sort your team out with some quality kit if you're needing it. The numbers at the bottom of the screen, and I fully advise you get in touch with them because some of the kits that the boys at VSN put out are top draw. Okay, Michael, we'll get stuck into the Premier League. Again, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I've spent my whole day running after a 3-year-old, a soon-to-be 3-year-old at the Heads Air Farm Park today. So I've not had a chance to see as much as I usually do. I have reached out to a lot of managers, and a lot of guys have came back to me, which again I really appreciate. I really appreciate everybody's support. But I've probably not seen as much as I usually do. But I suppose we'll just start alphabetical order as it goes along the screen there. Athlete 2, Auchinleck 4. Auchinleck, 3 games, 4 goals in each game. It's looking pretty good for the boys up at Auchinleck.
Jonny, what a great start, as you say. Listen, 3 games in, hard to ask for much more. And I know, for speaking to one of the teams that they're playing against, really impressed by them. Not just their talent, but obviously their work ethic as well. Very ruthless, extremely good, and what a start in that league this year for them.
Aye, amazing. I think Connor Boyd's back amongst the goals as well. So I think I'm really pleased to see that with Connor, because I really like Connor. He came in and trained with us when we were at Luga for a short period when he was at Irvine Meadow, and I was really impressed with him. And I thought, I knew there was a big step up for him going to Auchinleck, and it's his hometown team and all that kind of thing. It's a big pressure, but he started the season really well, banging the goals in. So delighted to see that. And in terms of Atherley, Michael, newly promoted side, Obviously, the last season at Dunterley before they move on to pastures new. But what do you think their kind of expectations will be? That they've got 1 point from their opening 3 games, but where do you think their expectations will be this year?
Listen, again, I think they'll be quite happy to come in and try and stabilise it. It's a weird year this year, Johnny, as we've all been talking about. But getting a point first game of the season against St Cadox, I don't imagine they'd have felt too disappointed in that. A solid start, and then I think getting a couple of goals against a team like Talbot, it's probably not as bad a picture. I think I'd be trying to paint a positive on that and saying, listen, they have done already, and they'll do a lot worse to other teams. So it's maybe just take that one as it was a free hit and build on for there. But a decent start, and I don't think I would be too concerned for the boys. I think they've strengthened well during the summer, and I think they'll go in there and hold their own.
Mm-hmm. I think when you're newly promoted now, it depends obviously what your expectations are, and if you've got millions of pounds to spend like you guys at Knightswood. but I'm seeing John get you to bite early doors. But I think for like newly promoted sides, especially going into the Premier League, it is I do think that maybe the gaps between first, second, third, fourth, it's there, but it's not as pronounced as going from the first up to the Premier League, I feel. And I think you'll be looking at teams round about them, teams that come up with them. They play Glenafton next week again. That could be one they could be looking at. But you've got to really target those games against the teams that probably come up with you, the teams that finished bottom half of the season last year.
I'd agree. Definitely.
Aye, definitely. And I've got Craig just saying that it was a tough place to go. I think that's the other thing we probably don't take into consideration is Dunterley is a really hard place to go, and I think I suppose the concern probably for me is what happened last year with so many games being off there. I don't know if there's any kind of plans to alleviate that, but it can get turned into a bit of a mud bath come the winter months.
Aye, and I think that's probably Talbot looking as well and thinking, again, good time of year to get down there, play when it's in good nick. But I again, as I say, for Arthur, I think they'll give loads of people plenty of problems at home this season. I don't have any doubt about
that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Moving on to Cumnock v Renfrew, let's say, we'll just rattle through this as it's going along the bottom of your screen there. Renfrew scoring in the last kind of 10 minutes to grab a draw. I think that's a really positive result for Jimmy Quigley and the boys at Renfrew.
They've been, I think, if everything they've seen and heard so far through the season, they've been unlucky first couple of games. Again, I know home to Troon, but again, another really good team that started the season really well. Couple of odd goal defeats. So at that point, you're looking at small margins and you think, what could we have done to turn that into maybe a point or two? So I think going to Cumnock and getting a point, they'll be really happy with that. That'll maybe settle them down and get them moving.
Mm-hmm. Aye. How do you think Stephen Swift views that? I've said probably to ad nauseum about. I think Cumnock have got the ability to be up the top end of the table this year, and you'd probably be looking at a home game against Renfrew that have just got promoted. You'd be expecting to probably pick up 3 points in that one, wouldn't you?
Again, I think starting with, was it 3-1 Largs? Really good strong start, and then losing it with the odd goal midweek again at Johnson Borough. Pretty tough, and you're thinking, right, okay, we're probably not far off it. I think Swifty have been looking at that and thinking it's 3 points on Saturday. No disrespect, but that's what the aim would have been. So they'll be feeling a bit sore about that one. But again, it's not the worst start. It's only the first weekend. And we all know, Johnny, this time of the year, the boys been away and suspensions and injuries. It's hard to get a real kind of measure for it just this early on, isn't it? But I'll be feeling a bit sore and thinking he's hoping it'll be no one that they'll look back on later in the campaign. But I don't think they'll be too upset with it.
No, I don't think anybody will be overreacting. I think that's our job or my job. I think it's our job to overreact to these things and make them into bigger things than they are to try and stimulate the conversation. But I think you're absolutely right. But I think with the experience in his team, to be in a winning position with 10 minutes to go, you would fancy seeing that out.
Home, looking to see it out every day of the week, John. I think anybody, no matter what the level is, that's what your hope would be when you get yourself into that winning position, and then kind of go into your standard game plan and try and see it across the line.
Mm-hmm. Aye, and it's interesting what you say about boys being away. I think nearly all the managers that I've spoken to over the course of today have all mentioned boys been away on holiday and stuff like that. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is with boys nowadays. I mean, it's different at certain levels. They're not getting paid, etc. But you'd imagine at the top end, it's bizarre. Just boys just taking holidays all the time.
You've got I know it's maybe shorter, and I get that, Johnny, but it's you've got a 4 or 5 week window before pre-season, and then you've usually got a 4 or 5 week window during pre-season. So to wait for that 10 weeks to go by and then start your holidays, I can feel a bit bizarre. And we actually put comms out to our boys today just to say, can I have confirmation of everybody's holidays between now and December? Because my memory's not what it used to be, but I'm pretty sure I didn't know about some of these holidays, Johnny. So it's a weird one, and it's hard even when you're looking at people over the summer, you're looking at players coming in, you've kind of got a mindset of what you're looking for, and you're strengthening in other areas. But then all of a sudden you've got 2 or 3 boys that have popped up on holiday, and then you find yourself a wee bit short, especially now, and suspensions carrying over and all the rest of it. So as it's frustrating at times, I would say.
Aye, no, it definitely is. We see it. It just seems to be happening more and more. I still take my holidays first week in June, and it's just like habit from years, from being 16-year-old. You know what I mean? To all the way through to now, it's still just a habit that the first week in June is when you go on holiday, so you don't miss any football. You know, but I don't know. It's a different change days. I'm probably a dinosaur when it comes to that kind of stuff. But
our guys will tell you I'm other, because I always go away during pre-season for a couple of weeks. And I leave everyone else to it for a bit, and it's good because it's good for our management, the coaching staff, and that to take the team as well for a wee bit and get to know the boys and keep me out of the equation. But when it gets to the start of the season, you're trying to avoid that a little play again. So, it's a strange one, but as you say, it's a different world around now, Johnny. So.
That's it, and there's plenty of other things we could sound like grumpy old men, like the old man waving at the clouds. You know what I mean? Like, because it's so raging about so many things. Anyway. We love them, we'll nurture them and try and make them into better humans. Anyway, maybe a wee bit of a shock. Well, maybe not. I wouldn't. Drumchapel beating Johnstone Borough. I'm loath to call it a shock result because Drumchapel's a very good side. You know what I mean? I think that would be disrespectful to Drumchapel. So I don't want to call it a shock. But early on in the season, Johnstone Borough will be wanting to set their marker down to challenge at the top end of the table. And it's a really good game, actually. It's one of those ones where it's really close and probably could have went either way. I don't know if you've had the chance to see any of the stuff online on the Johnstone Borough feed, but basically, so Drumchapel 1-0 up at half time, and Johnstone Borough's on the attack and score, but the referee blows for a penalty, and then they have to take the penalty and they miss the penalty and end up losing the game. So, and by the way, I spoke to Johnstone Borough coaching staff, and he's not saying, he's made it very clear that that's not the reason that they lost the game. They need to be so much better, especially in the final third. But it was a strange one. I don't know if you've seen it, but a great result for Drumchapel anyway. And
again, a pretty tight start of the season for Drumchapel. Obviously, a draw first game of the season against Glencairn, but then to go 2-1 wins. I think it was away to Lads, wasn't it? And then home to Johnstone Borough. So 2 smashing wins for them. After the first game, I think they'll be delighted with that. And I think for the whole, you know the kind of high pressure you're going to face when you go to play Drumchapel. So a really good win for them. But I've not seen that yet. That'll be an interesting one to see. And another contentious refereeing decision.
I mean the video was from behind the goal, so it's difficult to see what's actually going on, but you can definitely hear the whistle before the ball goes in. The ball's just kind of going in the net. You know, it's just I don't know. It's just a strange one. But
right, we'll maybe look at that later on.
Aye. It's in. But anyway, focusing on Drumchapel, I think for me certainly, the first season getting promoted last year into the Premier League, and they did really, really well last year. Maybe slightly overachieved in terms of coming up and doing so well. So it was interesting to see how they would then kick on from there, and they've started the season brilliantly. So I think
they'll be quite happy as well, Johnny, with the fixtures coming up away to Renfrew, and then think they're home, go winning, and then they'll get the cup game, and then after that away to Cumnock. So a couple of weeks where they'll probably try and motor on, pick up some points, and then take the break in the cup. But a decent start for them. I don't think they'll be disappointed. But that'll be a sore one for Murday and Johnstone Borough. I don't know if I've appreciated that one. But as you say, it's probably not. It's a great result, and it's probably not a shock, is it? It's
no, it's not a shock. But it's interesting, Johnston Borough, like Greg mentioned there, that they need to be better in the final third, because you would think with the quality they've got in the park that's probably where they would be strongest.
You would think so, wouldn't you? And there's definitely no lack of resource there, is there?
No, definitely not. But what I'm sure there's work to do in the training ground, and that's the thing with these midweek games. It's good to get off to get the games underway, but you do see when you have a couple of games, especially if results don't go your way, you miss that night on the training field, don't you?
You do. Listen, we were the same. First, we had a bit of a nightmare week just off the park leading up to the first game, and we could have really done with a settled week on the training pitch. But instead, we were in for a light session on the Monday night, nothing more than that, and then you're back into it against a really strong Ardere on the Wednesday. So you're looking going, it's not ideal, but you know it's coming. You need to just suck it up, same as everybody else. Well, we're fortunate enough to get an away fixture. Ardere have had to actually travel through to us midweek, which isn't brilliant, is it? So you take the small wins, but it does make, at this time of the year, you're still trying to work out everything that's best for you. You'd rather be on that pitch, wouldn't you, and training with the boys than playing the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm sure there's plenty of work. I'm sure the boys will be working hard to kind of rectify any kind of issues that they're seeing in the final third. But moving on, Hurlford, solid 2-0 victory at home to Rutherglen, 2 goals in the first half, and then they see the game out. I heard again from coaching staff they weren't as good as they could be, but it's a 2-0 victory. And again, we're talking about those established teams having these home games against teams that have just newly promoted. You just need to get 3 points in these games, don't you?
Yeah, I've seen that as a Mike in the comments there saying as well. Good first half for Hurlford, 2 up. Glenn came back in a wee bit in the second half and a couple of good saves. But again, for them, you're taking that in there, solid 2-0 win at home. You'd be happy enough with that. No real complaints there.
Aye, they're a team that their home form usually sees them in good stead. I think it kind of saved them last year, to be honest. But it's it's going to be a tough game, especially for promoted teams. But again, we're talking about midweek. They go to Glenafton and get a good 2-1 victory on Saturday, who then go and beat Pollock yesterday. So it's a good start for Hurlford compared to what happened to them last year and where they were last year.
Really. I think they're one of the teams getting first game of the season 4-0 Talbot. Pretty hard to feel too despondent about that now, the way Talbot started the season. But as you say, then going to Glenafton, putting up a good win and then following it up at home, I think you'll be pretty satisfied with the first week's fixtures with that, to be honest.
And it's following on from what we were saying earlier about the training. So they get turned over 4-0 at home for Auchinleck, first game of the season. Probably don't get the chance to train, but respond with a victory and then another victory. To me, that's a real mark of the quality and the mentality in the dressing room.
100%. Listen, that's pretty similar to our story, Johnny, and that's exactly what I would say. At that point, you're looking to the experience, aren't you, and saying, hey, boys, listen, we know what's required here, back to basics and back out. So it's good for them. It's a good, solid start. And again, for Glencairn, probably unlucky. Again, first game of the season drawn away at Drumchapel, none each. So then to go there and lose 2-0, again, there's no shame in it. A good start for them, but maybe the aspirations are trying to go there and sit in and maybe try and nick something in that one as well.
I know Drumchapel still to concede a goal. 3 games in. I know we're jumping back, but I've just noticed that when I was looking at league tables.
It's a decent start, isn't it? Nobody would be happy with that. It'd be great.
As an ex-centre half, I'm buzzing when I see that. It's absolutely delightful. I always tell people I would take 30-0 draws over the course of the season if I could.
Listen, better 31-0 wins, Johnny. That'd be fine, wouldn't it? So that'd be all right.
No big greedy. You know what happens when you try and get greedy in football? It's got a habit of coming back to bite you. Speaking of Glenafton, who Hurlford beat during the week, they go to Pollock and get a good 2-1 victory. I spoke to Josh Gardner, the one of the first team coaches at Pollock, and he was just saying it was kind of easy, kind of even. Conceded a really poor first goal. Goalie makes an error, and then Michael Mullen scores a free kick, and then they get back and they score one, but just couldn't get that equaliser. It's looking difficult for that new side at the minute.
Obviously, know Josh well for last year as well, and still speak with Josh frequently. It'll be a tough school this year for them. they've not got the resources that they once had. Jonny, they're bringing in a bit more youth. I know quite a lot of the boys have signed and a lot of good players in there, but it'll take time. Obviously, get Josh in there as a new coach as well, so some of the new methods will be asking to implement will take time and a wee bit of belief as well. And you're just hoping that people will give them that, give them a bit of backing and give them a bit of time to implement it in. So as it's a tough one in that league. Listen, it's tough going there when you don't have the resources. It's going to be a tough season for them, but you're just this year hoping people will give them time to get it right in the training pitch and back them. And Josh is a really good coach and a good guy as well, so I'm hoping he goes there and helps Max to turn it around.
The margins are just so fine when you get to particularly in the Premier League, as we'll see later on when we come on to talk later, and even talking about the Johnstonborough and Drum again, like the margins are so fine, and when you've got a kind of lesser experienced squad, so to speak, the last thing you need is individual errors. It just kills you.
It's a tough one, and it's starting home with Beath, and I know Beath won't have their troubles to seek either, but it's not an easy fixture to start with. And then Talbot, another one of the teams that's had 4 taken off from the Talbot, and then again home to Glenafton. But sometimes when it's not going for you and you're just no say, I don't imagine that they'll have enough time in pre-season with the new boys and the new methods, Jonny. I don't think they'll have enough time to implement that yet, and it could be another couple of months before you really see the fruits of that if everybody buys into it. And you're just hoping that in that couple of months, people keep backing them, but it could be a long season for them.
Mm-hmm. Aye, and it's one of those ones you get frustrated the longer it goes, but you need to stick with it. I think, see, if you've committed to this, they've obviously committed to that, the approach for this season, then and I'm sure they will. I'm not saying they're going to just rip it up and start trying to do something else, but and it can be difficult when things aren't going well, but you've got that safety in it, if you like, with the no relegation this season. So if you've committed to it, then you need to commit to it 100%, which I'm sure Stuart Maxwell and the guys will, and see it through and try and bear the fruits of the labour.
I think so. And as I know football fans can be fickle, Jonny, but I think if you're standing there watching new ideas getting implemented and you can see progression on the park, then these guys over there have seen a lot of good football teams and they're no daft. So I'm pretty sure if they can see progression, then they'll get that back in as well. So fingers crossed. I hope they turn it around and start going on a wee run, pick up a couple of points.
Yeah, Mike Cameron is just saying that Pollock reminds him of Darvel from last season. In what way, Mike? Give us a wee bit of context to that. And in what way do you mean? But we'll move on to shots and lags. So lags, it was really, I think for Arnie, I saw his interview after the game and he was just saying how important it was to get that first win. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. You just want that first 3 points on the board, and they've got that yesterday in a really tough place to go at shots.
It's good, and I've seen Mike's comments on that as well, just saying shots had 2 good chances, but Lars got 2 goals in 3 minutes late on to turn it back down. So they'll be happy to get the points on the board. And again, that'll be a tough one against shots. Isn't a fun place to go either, is it? But they'll be happy. I think they'll be happy with that yesterday.
I think they get 2 in the last 10 minutes. I think Craig Little and Jamie Martin scored in the last 10 minutes to get the victory for them. But again, like we said, it's just about getting that first 3 points on the board and building for there. And then on the flip side of that, we've got shots who have played 2, drawn 1, lost 1. They'll be looking to get points on the board as quickly as they can, going into the fixtures throughout the season. But they managed to stay up last year. And then again, I suppose for all these teams that stayed up in the division, what's the kind of expectations, aspirations? Are they trying to aim for that top 8, or are they just going to see it as a building year?
I think the next couple of games will be interesting for shots, Jonny, because home to Renfrew, then away to Glencairn, and then away to Kilwinning. So they'll be interesting. I think that'll probably be a really good marker for them. That'll tell you how it's looking against these teams. So I think that'll probably be an interesting. I think they get I don't know if they've got a midweek game as well. I think the way the fixtures look, but that'll be an interesting couple of fixtures for them.
Aye. Mike's just saying about Pollock, just talking about the kind of budget restraints and the goings with a younger, less experienced squad. Yeah, I get it. I think looking at the 2 squads from last year, though, I would probably suggest that Pollock are probably in a more extreme position than Darvel were compared to last season. If you looked at Darvel's squad last year, I would say they still had a fair whack of Premier League and experienced players in there, to be honest. But I get your point, Mike Don. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah, I can see the comparison.
You know, because there's guys like Conor McGlinchey and Jason Naismith at times of the season. They signed Scott Lewis from Coburnie, and they've got Ross Barber at right back. You know, I would say that's probably Pollock's situation is probably a bit more extreme than where Darvel were last year. St Cadoc's beating Beath 1-0. Good 1-0 win for them. Again, I said it in the midweek show. Thanks to everybody that watched the midweek show, by the way. I really appreciate it. It was tough ass talking myself for 35 minutes. Lucky I like the sound of my own voice, as you can probably tell. But a good win for St Cadoc's. Looking at St Cadoc's team, they're a strong team. I think a few people could maybe be writing them off at their peril this year.
Again, nothing each way after the first game of the season, and then losing midweek at Troon. Again, I think Troon looked really strong to begin with. They're looking as if they're going to be one of the teams up there. So then to come back home, get a 1-0 win against Beath, I think, again, I don't think they'll be complaining. That's not the worst start, is it? So gets your points on the board and gives them a chance to move on.
It's funny how it's like watching. I don't know if anybody watches horse racing, but it's like examining the form, isn't it? You don't really know when that first game of the season. You think, right, okay, and then the patterns start to develop in terms of St Cadoc's, like you said, drawing and Drumchapel drawing with Rutherglen. You're thinking, oh, are Drumchapel in for a tricky season, and then they have two really good results. It's amazing how even early on in the season, 3 weeks in, patterns are starting to develop.
You will, and again, without speaking to a lot of the guys that deeply, you need to, as we've just spoken about, who's away, who's missing, who's injured, who have you not got midweek, and it kind of paints a slightly different picture, doesn't it? But you're looking at it now and trying to guess your way through it as educatedly as you can. So,
aye, a team that's absolutely flying. Finally, Troon beating Cowinnen 6-1. We spoke at that. I suppose Troon, I'd maybe put Troon in the same kind of category as Drumchapel in terms of this year. We're interested to see how they would look, how they would continue that progression from such a good season last year, and they've no missed a beat so far this season. That's a really strong result yesterday.
Away win, first game of the season, then a good strong midweek win, home, a clean sheet, and then 6-1 in the back of that is an impressive start. I think on this early doors, you're thinking that is a good start. I think they're home this week to Beath, is it? And then a couple of away games, so I think one in the cup, but at home to Beath and then away to Cumnock. So again, probably I think by the time you get the middle to the end of August, you'll see a bit more of the pattern developing. But it's a good start. I don't think they would be disappointed with that.
I think they play Auchinleck in 3 weeks, I think, which will be
home on the 23rd. So that'd be an interesting one. That'd be a nice one to watch.
I'll try to see if I can try and get along to that one, because that would be a cracker. But in terms of Cowinnen, they've had a decent start to the season. They obviously beat Renfrew during the week, which was a good result for them. But it's, again, how would you approach it as a manager, Michael? Because you've came up, you've done all right, and then you get a sore one at the weekend. How do you approach that?
I think, again, a lot of experience in that changing room. Jonny, good boys in there as well. Down there, it'll just be a wee quick analysis over where we went wrong. Anything, is it small margins, or has there been a couple of real howlers in there? And if not, it'll just be back into training, nice and simple, build again, and then you're just trying to solidify a wee bit after a sore one like that, and you let the wins a wee bit and build a wee bit of your siege mentality to go back out of the weekend and take it to basics and just try and kick on. That would be my approach on it anyway.
I think it's recognising that can happen sometimes. Sometimes you just get that. And Troon are in great form. Dario Viviani got another couple today. He's absolutely flying. Yesterday. I think you need to recognise that these results can happen, and you try and move on as quickly as you can.
It's the same to boys at you're going to lose games of football, aren't you? And sometimes you're just playing against a better team. And as long as you've done your best, that's it. You cannot overanalyse everything, can't we? And we're all good at it. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes it's just a case, you played a you played a strong team. They played well on the day and they took their chances, and you just need to move on.
Aye, absolutely. Interestingly, Craig McGee is just mentioning in the chat about Renfrew scored first in all 3 games. Do you think that'll be a concern for Jimmy Quigley?
Do you know what? Probably not just yet. But again, good learning for the minute, and it's a different level again. So unless he's noticing something that it's repeating all the time, it might just be a case of a wee bit of experience again at that level. And if you can build that in it, it's maybe just setting again after a goal. And I don't know enough about the 3 games to say, but it could be just a case of resetting and trying to solidify for 10, 15 in it, or you've no idea. But I don't think I'd be too concerned. Another 3 or 4 games in, then maybe the alarm bells are ringing, but I think I'd be all right just now.
Yeah. Okay, mate, we'll move on to the... By the way, I saw Dean Keenan's comment on the midweek show about trying to get the league tables up on the screen. We need an IT wizard or something like that, somebody that works in IT that can show me how to do that, because I did have a wee mess about this afternoon to see if I could possibly do it, but I'm not even going to try it because I'll probably end up just cutting the feed off, and then that'll be it, and then PG will shout at me because I've ruined the stream. And it's too early anyway, isn't it? Do you think we're too early to look at league tables?
I'm from your point of view, listen, you're all right. Let it go for a couple of weeks until you get the IT.
So, see if you look at the top 4 in the Premier League just now after 3 games: Auchinleck, Troon, Drumchapel, Johnston, Borough. If I was to say to you, if I was to bet £50, I think that'll be the top 4, not in particular order, but that will be the top 4 end of the season. Would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't. No, I think they're all a good solid 4 there. I think if you go down a wee bit further and you take into Harrowford as well, I think you wouldn't be surprised. I think they'll be there or thereabouts this season, Johnny, to be fair.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on to the first division. Ardrossan got a really good win against Vale Clyde. I was a bit surprised to see it as comprehensive as it was. I got a wee update, or a big update, should I say, from John Hughes, the Vale Clyde manager, which was great. Just says his overall kind of thing was that they deserved to lose. They said there wasn't much tempo at the game. They got a penalty in the first half, scored to make it 1-0. They cut a couple of chances. They were in a game, and then they were in the game, and then they lost their striker, and that's kind of killed it, really, to be honest. But he's saying the same as a lot of boys. They had 9 missing yesterday out of 5 that would have started and stuff. But a good result for Ardrossan.
I think, from John's point of view, a couple of goal defeats for the first 2 games, and he's probably looking more at the 2, thinking could he took something for that, and I believe he will. Whereas you go to yesterday, it sounds as if it's just one of the days where, it's just not going to be your day, and you've maybe got too much missing to bridge the gap. So I don't think I've probably don't mean too fussed about that one, but probably more concerned about the odd goal defeats, thinking he could have took a point or maybe nicked 3 in one of them, Johnny.
Really interesting, and I'm not railing on referees here as I usually do, but the referee in that game yesterday refereed Ardrossan last week, and then refereed Ardrossan under 20s on Friday night, and then refereed Ardrossan yesterday. Manager can't say anything. Look, manager malfunction.
I know. 3 games into the season, Johnny, I've not been booked yet, so I'm on it. If this is a role, so I'm trying not to say too much, but it's been difficult in the games I've watched so far this season, Johnny.
It's just a weird kind of caveat. I've never seen that. I've never heard of that before. And again, that's not from John. He actually said there's nothing they would have complained about. They deserve to lose the game, so it's not like he's having a go. And it wasn't him that told me; it was somebody else that actually brought that up. But it's an interesting caveat, isn't it? You
wouldn't think it was a good scenario to have, regardless, because if something was to come up, then it does cast aspersions, doesn't it? So the fact that it's nothing to do with that's great, but it's not a great scenario to put yourself in, is it? You would think somebody would be looking at that and think, hey, let's avoid that. That's not a great idea, but it doesn't. Common sense seems to be sadly lacking at times, doesn't it? So.
I think it's probably just the struggle with referees. I think just trying to get referees, they're almost having to take who you can get and send them where they can send them, aren't they?
I know, speaking to a couple of the refs even last season, Johnny, in all seriousness, it's difficult. Sometimes even these guys are looking, saying, "No idea why I've been sent there. This doesn't make any sense." And it's not. It's the worst gig in the world, isn't it? It definitely is. I wouldn't want to do it. Without them, the game doesn't go on. So we appreciate it, but you can't do right for doing wrong, can you? If you're a referee,
it's probably the only job in the world where we all think we could do it better, but we all would never want to do it.
Not a chance. Absolutely not. So that's why I'm just trying to say, not to say too much on it, in case one of them chins me after a couple of games. The refs on, do you know what I mean? Give me dogs of this.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, again, we come back to it. We know they're going to, everybody makes mistakes. We make mistakes on a daily basis. You know, that's the thing. It's just the sometimes it can get your frustrations get the better of you. Anyway, before we get you into bother, we'll move on. We'll move on to Cumbernauld and Kilbirnie. So Kilbirnie reverting to type after last year by drawing again. So that's 2 draws for the first 3 games for Kilbirnie. I would fancy Kilbirnie's probably aspirations are to be up the top end of the table this year, competing for one of those top 8 spots. The draws really killed them last year, so they'll be working hard to try and turn those draws into wins this year, because they don't want to fall into that trap again.
No, and after a really good start to the season, a good way, a clean sheet, win away from home against Ardrossan, and then to go to these 2 games and then you're shutting 5 goals across the 2 games. I know you're scoring 5, but that'll be their Achilles heel. Seen a bit of Kilbirnie, obviously not full strength, but we were lucky enough to be invited into the tournament pre-season down at Kilbirnie, which was brilliant. But got a lot of talent down there, so I'd imagine they'll be trying to push hard for that. So at this stage of the season, you're always worried about picking up a couple of draws in it. You're trying to make sure they're 3 points. It doesn't come back to bite you at the end of the season.
I know, and I think looking at the kind of overview, I think they came back twice. So they were 1-0 down, then 2-1 down. So that, on the flip side of what I've just said, that will fill them with confidence because they've showed that character to come back.
Probably more the home game. I think, you know how it is when you go away from home, sometimes it can happen. Probably the home game where it's been 3 each. They'll be looking at that thinking, listen, we can't be, if we're scoring 3 goals at home, we've got to be picking up 3 points. So probably, I think for them, it'll probably be more that one. But again, it's another one of the midweek. I think you mentioned it midweek as well. Some midweek fixtures, and sometimes these things can throw up strange scenarios, can't they? So, that'll be in their mind for last season. They'll not want to get into that habit again.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely not. And moving on to Darvel v Gartcairn, so 2 relegated sides from last year. We know Gartcairn, how they found themselves in that mess, but a really good victory for them yesterday, going to Darvel and winning. Are you surprised that Darvel haven't won a game yet this season?
Probably not surprised. I know they've signed quite a lot of players, but again, I think for the team, for where they came from last year, I don't think it feels a wee bit monotonous. Johnny, with it now, it feels as if it's just a wee bit kind of flat. I think actually one of the guys here, Craig McGee's just said that. That's probably what I think. It looks as if they're stuck in a wee bit of a rut. And I think Michael is always very honest in his interviews, but I think it will be difficult. Let's say a budget. They've managed to keep some of the bigger names, but I think some of the signings will be. Listen, it's a place that's had a lot of success recently, and the guys will be expecting a certain standard, and sometimes that can weigh pretty heavily, Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people were obviously tipping them to go straight back or to get back up. And they, by the way, they're still more than capable. So I'm not saying that after 3 games they're out of it, but I think you're right. I think watching Michael's interview, and he was saying there wasn't much in the game, and I spoke to Ryan McStay, the Gartcairn manager, earlier, and he was saying that he says he thought they did really well first half. They were disappointed to only go 2-0 up. Darvel had a few chances, maybe got off with a couple, and then they said half time just see it out, because they had the disappointment last week against Whitlett's being 4-1 up. So how important do you think that was for Ryan and the boys to throw away a 4-1 lead last week to see out a 2-0 this week?
I think Witless always looked pretty dangerous attacking, and that's it. I think that Cairn losing 8 goals would have been a sore one. I think to go there yesterday, get a clean sheet, move on, they'd have been. I felt good about that one. After losing 4, I think a clean sheet is exactly what they've been looking for.
Aye. After you've given away 4, a clean sheet's always welcome. Always welcome.
Let's try and defend better and take a couple of chances. So I think they'll be pretty happy with that. But a tough one for Darvel just now. But I think a fairly solid enough start for Gatland.
Maybe just needs that first win. Do you know what I mean? For Darvel, that one victory that will kickstart them, get them going. You know, give them a wee bit of impetus. They go to Kilbirnie next week, which again is not an easy place to go. But I think they just need that first win, and then they can see where they can go from there.
That's it. Listen, as we always say, it's a brilliant habit in it to get into his winning. But see, when it's the other way around about it, it's the worst place in the world, isn't it? You just feel as if sometimes that wee bit of luck just doesn't come your way. So, maybe that one wins what they need just to give the boys a chance to kickstart one. Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, as you know, and we've all been there, losing can sometimes become a habit as well. That's a difficult one to kick almost. I heard a great phrase the other day. It said you can't learn how to win games before you start learning how not to lose games.
Listen, as and you know,
you can have that one for nothing, Michael.
Thanks. I'll probably not be able to remember it, Johnny. But if I do, I'll if you hear it at some point in the season, then you can take the credit for it, mate.
Well, managers up and down the country, up and down the west of Scotland will be in their dressing room this weekend. You're welcome. Okay, top of the table, Irvine Meadow, really comprehensive 4-0 win against Benburb. A really strong result. Meadow looked really strong this season already. I saw them in pre-season. I was impressed. But again, I'm surprised Benburb start to the season. It's been not great.
Three good wins for Meadow, 2 at home, and a good one away at the Vale as well, wasn't it? So they get the odd goal win there, 2-1. So really good start. So I think at 4-0 I was a bit surprised. I thought Irvine Meadow score against Muir Cup was great, but I didn't see it being a 4-0 yesterday with the Bens. But again, it's been a bit of a slow start, and at 4-3 at home, 4-3 defeat at Petershill, then a 3-0 to the Rock. So that's a sore one, as I say. 7 against in your last 2 games, none for. And I know it is only early doors, but I know hearing some noise for Ben's early doors, I know they had a lot of boys missing just at the end of pre-season or starting the season, so I don't know if that's continued. In one of the games they played, I know they had quite a lot of their back line. So if that has been the case, we don't like that, as that's a tough one, isn't it? But 7 against and 0 fours, always a worry on it.
And Meadow looked really strong. Ross McKenzie get 2 goals, Jack Wilson, Aaron Miller get the other 2 as well. But they've signed well in the summer. They've strengthened. It's obvious that they want to push this season, and they've started in the correct way for Jamie and the boys. And I can't see who they go to this weekend.
They're home to Petershill, and they've got a couple of home games, home to Petershill and then at home to Ardrossan. And then because I think the Bens have they've got a couple of away, they've got a couple of home wins. They're in the reverse. They've got Ardrossan this week, and then at home to Witlets as well. So they'll be an interesting couple of weeks for both their teams.
Aye, no, definitely. Aye, they played Petershill in midweek? No, 12. So I don't know. So that's a week Wednesday. So there's maybe a cup game in there. I don't know. Scottish Cup. I know the preliminary round for the Scottish Cup's coming up soon, but I don't know if it's as soon as next week. I'm not sure. I should probably know that, given the fact that I host a podcast. I should probably know these things, but we're only human, aren't we?
So too much on real life gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it? So it's I think the last week, the second last week of the month, the South Challenge stuff coming out 23rd, I think it is, isn't it? And then the prelims the week after.
Aye, 30th August, second for the second prelim round, and then I think it's the 16th is the South Challenge Cup, because I've said I would go on the radio that weekend with PG when the Saturday show's back. Anyway, Neilston flying 5-0 victory against Lanark. We've spoken about Lanark and the changeover in terms of the management team. squad and things like that. It could be a difficult season for them, but they got a good draw against Whitlets. So, but a sore one yesterday going to Neilston. Great result for Neilston, newly promoted side, making a statement in the division.
I think Neilston starting with a 4-2 win at home against Kirkcudbright was good, and then obviously going to Thurleywood and losing 3-1. No great shame in that one, is there? But I think following it up with a 5-0 on Saturday, though, I felt really good about that. We seen our boys when I was away on pre-season. I watched the game we played Neilston, and a good team. They played a lot of the Premier teams over pre-season, getting themselves ready and equipped for what's ahead. So I think Neilston will do pretty well this year, Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they'll shock a few, and they're probably a wee bit under the radar compared to other sides.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll do. I think they'll do well this year.
Mm-hmm. A team that I kind of thought would be much improved this year. Well, not much improved, but I thought they would have improved given the end to the season last year. Was Rob Roy, who drew 1 each with Thorneywood. Thorneywood have had a really good start to the season. I spoke to Adam Coakley, the Thorneywood manager, this morning, and he was just saying really difficult. That it was a real kind of battling performance that they had to put in to get away with that, and they were delighted with the point, delighted with their start to the season. They've started the season really well, Thorneywood, haven't they?
Aye, they have. It's a decent start. I think, as I say, Rob Roy picked up one for the first two. They'll be feeling a wee bit of that. But Thorneywood, again, I think they're looking pretty decent, Johnny, already. And the feedback that we're hearing about them is pretty strong too. So I think they'll have a good season again. I think it was at 5-2 Darvel opening game of the season, and then beating Neilston. So a draw away at Kirkcudbright. So again, that's a solid start.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And our team sitting joint top of the league, St Rochs. So they have a great start to the season. Three played, 3 wins. Similar to Elvin Meadow, exact same goal difference, 4 against everything.
Yep.
It's a really good season for a really good start to the season for St Rochs. I'm really impressed with their start to the season, because I think a lot of people maybe were a wee bit surprised to see them up contending last season, and they're showing early on that it wasn't a shock, or wasn't a fluke, if you like, that they deserve to be up there.
10 goals in 3 games. We're well happy with that. Really strong win against Peasy. Obviously, midweek Binburn. Good win there with a clean sheet, and then an opening day win against the Vale. So I'm pretty sure the boys at the Rock will be delighted with that as a start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And Whitlets and Muirkirk played out a 2-2 draw. Whitlets seem to be the draw masters at the minute. They just seem as if they're struggling to keep the ball out the net. They're scoring plenty. If they could, I said in the midweek show that if they could tighten it up at the back, then they would be absolutely fine. But they just seem to be kind of almost shooting themselves in the foot with these draws.
Aye, 4-4 all 3-2. Don't know if we stick some money in there on the 1 each this week, Johnny. But that is again, that's the kind of thing. Again, you'll be looking going. You'll be more than happy with what you're doing going to Kilbirnie, as I say, and scored 3-4 at home against Gartcairn, 2 at home against Muirkirk. You're looking at that, I think that's pretty decent, but can we tighten up at the other side and turn them into wins? That'd be my worry. If you're scoring like that, you're thinking we're committing. Know that we're doing well. We're committing plenty forward and getting results, but can we just keep it a bit tighter at the other side?
Mm-hmm. I spoke to Graham Neal, the Whitlets manager, and he was just kind of lamenting their game management at the minute, and I think that can be seen in the results. But he's just saying they're bitterly disappointed. Kind of felt like a defeat, a lost opportunity, maybe one that got away. But they'll take the learnings and move on, look to tidy up. It's difficult when you're trying to tidy up game management situations, because you're really relying on boys making the right decisions.
And John, that's another thing we were talking about. See, game management at this time of the season, although you've had your pre-season and that's what it's for, you're getting into competitive matches. Yesterday was scorching, so people are making mistakes. People are still tired as they're trying to get up with match fitness, and you're a couple of bodies down. Game management can be tough at this time of the year. I think it's tough at any time, but I think you're probably a wee bit more. You're probably a wee bit more liable to it just at this stage of the season. So I'd be feeling a bit sorry for yourself, but there's probably not much in it just now. Again, probably 3 or 4 weeks down the line, if it's still happening, you're probably a bit more concerned.
And Muirkirk, Ross Cusick got in touch, just kind of said they felt a draw was probably a fair result in the end. Both teams had spells. It sounds pretty similar to what they were saying, both had opportunities to win it without taking them. Tough game and a hot day in air. Ross says he obviously enjoyed his day at the sunshine, at the seaside, sorry. But it's a decent enough start for Muirkirk. Still looking for that first win, but they've picked up a couple of draws that they can take to build on with their squad.
I think so, Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the second division. We'll know. I don't think we'll cover every result in here, just because we're kind of cracking towards the hour mark already. I suppose that where we'll start. Let's start with Greenock. Greenock, good 2-1 win away to Cali Locos. Fancy Greenock to be up the top end of the table competing this season. That's a solid win for them.
I think so. I think getting up in the fourth place, brilliant move for them. I was delighted with it because it takes one of the strong teams at our division, so I was delighted for them. But I started with a win away to fourth, and then obviously losing to Thorn, who have come up as well. But that's a great win for them on Saturday. And again, I don't think they'll be too despondent about the start of the new division.
Mm-hmm. Gary Fleming got in touch. He just kind of said that they felt the better team for the first 30 minutes, deserved 1-0 lead. He said, but then Cali Locos the right go at them, and subs made a big impact. He was just mentioning the midweek games, how it's third game in 7 days. As you know, it has a big impact, but he managed to bring on some fresh faces, and delighted to have 6 points out of 9. Could have been more after the 3-1 Thorn defeat, but he felt a wee bit of luck. The game could have went 2-2 against Thorn, but listen, it's important to have boys that you can bring in at this time of year in a strong squad, because the midweek games, having a strong squad is really important.
That's probably the biggest thing that we worked on for last year, Johnny, was exactly that. And you do get a benefit, 100%.
Mm-hmm. A team that started the season really well is Cambus Lang. Paul McCall's Cambus Lang, 3 wins from 3, 11 scored, 4 against. Really strong start to them, beating Bonnet in 5-1. I was really surprised at that result, to be honest. I wasn't surprised that Cambus Lang won. I know that they're a good side, but I was surprised it was as comprehensive as it was.
Yeah, especially the first 2 results, great win in the opening day against Forsyth at home, but then beating Larkhall 2-1 away, great again, good result, but nothing to suggest that you're going to see a 5-1 against Bonnet. So I think that's a sole one for Bonnet, but a great result for Cambus Lang.
Mm-hmm. Aye, Bonnet and Ian Waite, the Bonnet assistant, just says they just didn't get close enough to their danger man. That's one thing Cambus Lang do have, is they can punish you up the top end. They've got quality in the final third, but he says just tough day at the office. Expected to be more competitive than they were, but again, they've had a good result midweek. Turned us over 4-0 comprehensively midweek, and then they go to that. You're probably management team. What do you think about that when you've had such a good result during the week, and then you go away and you probably think everything's great, everything's rosy in the garden, and then that happens.
You're not seeing that one coming. Probably after the midweek game, you're buzzing. You're thinking just build on that, and then slap on the Saturday, and it's back to the drawing board on Tuesday night.
That's why we love it. Sometimes we wonder why we do it, don't we? You're probably thinking happy days. 4-0 win away from home on Wednesday, and then you go away on the Saturday and get turned over 5-1. But it's just football, and that's why we love it. So another team 100% record so far is Bells Hill. I have to profess I don't know a massive amount about Bells Hill, but I spoke to Mark Young, the Mary Hill manager, just says that they struggled to get any kind of rhythm. Went 1-0 up against the run of play, but then conceded almost kind of straight away. Second half was kind of non-event. Bells Hill third long range goal from Gracie that we shouldn't allow. Disappointing day, nowhere near it. Bells Hill fully worth the win.
I think especially with Mark and the boys going to Thorn opening day, getting the draw there as well, and you think that's a good result. You mean good solid start. So you're probably thinking away to Bells Hill following the same, but it's been a good start for Bells Hill. They'll have been delighted with that. An away win during the weekend at Ashfield 3-2. And then beating Cali Locos as well. So a really good start for Bells Hill. A really strong start. You'd be delighted with that.
Mm-hmm. I know it's great, 100% record. And then breathing down their necks is Thorn. Obviously come up last year. Everybody's kind of tipped them to be up the top end again this year. They're a really good win against Coolside Rangers. I think Coolside Rangers will probably be there or thereabouts as well. They've started the season well, but a good victory for Thorn.
I really like Thorn. Got a lot of good things going on, Johnny, and a really good really good blueprint for what they're trying to achieve. So I think they will be up there, and I do fancy Kilsyth to be the same. So I think that's actually looking like a really strong league this year. I think that'll be quite an interesting one.
Interestingly, Thorn were again spoke to David Watt. He was just saying that they got the job done in the first half, seen the game out in the second. Happy days. He was happy with the performance. Really happy with the squad is at the minute. They were missing Nathan McClelland yesterday as well, which is a big blow to them. So it's even more important that they. I'm not saying they're a one-man team, but it's important that they can show they can go and win games without him in the team.
He scored a lot of good goals last year, didn't he? Really good goal scorer. I think the thing that they've got three decent strikers. No disrespect to any other ones up there, but they've got three good solid boys up front there. So I think that's probably shown when Nathan been out. They've still got another couple of boys that will still go and score goals for them. So I'd be delighted if that was the case.
Yeah, Alexander Walker's just mentioning in the chat there that Cambuslang, big physical team, young lads found it hard to cope. I think they'll be up top come the end of the season. Would you disagree with any of that?
No, I think that's a fair assumption with Cambuslang. Yeah.
Yep. I have to be honest though, after seeing Bonnet on Wednesday night, I wouldn't have. Maybe I would say at the back, I would say they've probably got enough physicality with Gordon Pope playing. If he was playing centre half, I don't know if he was playing yesterday, but I would say they're probably equipped to kind of deal with that maybe a wee bit better. But listen, it's just one of those things. You put it down to experience. And then finally, Thieves beating Ashfield. Interestingly, Ashfield saw the St Gary Fraser today.
I think that is a good sign from him. I know a few people at Ashfield as well, and a tough year for them last year. And I think it feels as if it's been a tough start to them. I don't feel as if they're maybe catching much luck yet, but I think they see real signs of improvement. So I think they're hoping if they can just, again, one of the ones, see if they can get a win for somewhere. The worst 1-0 whenever. I think that'd be a big thing for them just to pick up the points. Because as we said, as defeats it's a horrible place to be. But I think they see real signs of improvement with what Peter's trying to build there and the guys that he's brought in.
Good, and I'm sure Gary will help that. I think a bit of a young squad, and Gary's experience will help them massively. Okay, moving on to third division. Good 1-0 win for you down at Girvan yesterday. How was it?
Tough, Johnny, as you'll imagine, tough, but a really good day for it. A lovely day. Dino, as I said, Dino and the guys were really good with us, but we knew it would be tough. First half, but each it felt like a basketball game at one point. It was not each, it was chances at both ends. And then at half time, we just changed the shape a wee bit. We just felt we were a wee bit open on one of the wings. So we changed the shape. And I thought in the second half, we controlled the game a hell of a lot better. Scored a really good goal. One possession in the middle of the park. Great counter. Really pleased with the goal. And then after that, I think we should have probably got the second to make it a bit easier. And we didn't. And then at the end of the game, they had a great chance. I think Dino will be thinking that he should have got a point for it. A great chance for a header. And our goalkeeper, what a fantastic save, Johnny. Literally with a couple of minutes left, if that absolutely outstanding save that stole the points for us. So it was good. But I think over the first half, nothing in it. Second half, I thought we were the better team, and that probably got us the 3 points. But I'm sure Dino think maybe different.
Oh, of course, I spoke to him as well. No, I think he was just kind of saying. I think did they have a couple of chances in the first half that they should maybe have taken. He was kind of saying, and then it was just one of those things. But like you said, that chance at the end, I think was massive. You know, and it made these wee small margins make a big difference, don't they? And
nice. Top draw, like really. Fantastic, Johnny. Brilliant. He had a great save in the first half. He put one onto the post. We put one onto the post, and then I think we got the goal up. We couldn't kill it off, and we knew the last 10-15 minutes they just threw everything at us. And that was if it was me, another foot, the chance I'd have been looking at to think we'll nick a point here. But when the keeper does that, then there's not much you can do about it, is there?
No, and we don't like talking up goalies at the best of times, but we need to give them a wee bit of credit sometimes.
I'll give them that one.
I know. So how's things been the build up to the new season?
Good. Pre-season was really good, Johnny. We never brought in loads of boys, but I knew there was a couple of areas that we wanted to strengthen, and we targeted them, and we brought in well. And again, we still went with that kind of really good blend of couple of more experienced heads, and a couple of younger boys. We've managed to get out the 20s as well. A couple of targets we were looking for. So pre-season was really good, and then started off the season last Saturday at home to Craig Mark, lost 2-0. Didn't see it coming. Full credit to Craig Mark. Sat and Brockwell got a couple of goals in the second half, but we just weren't our usual self, Johnny. And again, probably talking about just didn't see it happening. We just didn't play. We just didn't commit and work with the same work ethic that we usually do. So it was bitterly disappointing. But the boys righted that on Wednesday big time. We were, for everything that were bad on Saturday, we were really, really good against Ardea. They were a decent team, very good team, drilled under Sean. And we didn't give them a chance. We went 2-0 up and then we lost a silly goal, but we got one back straight away. And then in the second half, we said to the boys at half time, let's go out and keep going. It was 3-1 at half time. It went 5, and I think we could have done 6 or 7. They were brilliant. Whereas yesterday was more about down to Girvan, knew it would be tough, pretty physical, pretty direct. And it was going to be more about trying to keep that clean sheet and take one of the chances that would fall our way. So delighted with the boys. The new ones coming in have been brilliant. We've still got a few, as I'm going to sound like every other manager here, that we've got a few suspended and we've got quite a few still missing on holiday. So these are starting to come back in the next week or two. So I'm looking really forward to getting the full squad to work with and getting a chance to see what we can do.
Aye. How are you managing the expectations within the club? Because I think all the talking heads, us included, probably tipped you to be at the top end of the table challenging for the title. And I think sometimes you need to remember that you're a promoted side, do you know? And I think there's got to be that kind of realism, but it's no stopped any day. I think people are always talking about Knightswood going to win the league and do this and do that. And how you managing that within the club?
Johnny, you're totally right. This is only my second season here. Great's first season last year, but it's only the club's third season up as well. So again, we're not shying away from the fact we want to come in and do well. You look at Thorn, you look at Glenville, we want to be up there competing, we want to try and go up. But I think it needs to be tempered as well. We're building, we're a new team, we're a new team on and off the park. So we're trying to do things in the right manner, and we'll try and do our very best. But I think there does need to be an expectation around about that. Some of these teams we're going in against are really well established junior clubs before it went to the West of Scotland set up, with a lot of history, and these boys they know what they're doing. So it's no easy, but within the club, the guys understand what we're trying to build. So internally, it's not that bad. It's more of the noise externally that's the problem, Johnny.
Aye, no, I know, but you're always going to get that, and people like us probably don't help, you know.
Listen, we take it as a compliment. We're obviously doing something right if people are saying these nice things about us. So I'd far rather that than no noise at all, I tell you.
Oh, absolutely. No, definitely. It's good that you're getting those kind of plaudits. So I think, again, like I said earlier, I think sometimes there needs to be that realism that you have just got promoted. And I'm not saying that means you go, oh, well, we can't achieve anything, of course not. But I think everybody just automatically saying, no, Knightswood will win the league, Knightswood will win the league. You know,
and listen, it wasn't easy last year, and the Port were fantastic, and we said that the whole way through. It wasn't easy last year, and to do it this year wouldn't be easy either. It'd be really disrespectful to some of the names that are in our division. But the only thing that we can say with the boys, Johnny, is every single week is just go out and fight for that opportunity to showcase your talent. And if you do that, and generally against most teams, I'd be confident our boys competing. I think that was the thing for me against Craig Mark. For whatever the reason, we just didn't get it right in the day as a management team, and we didn't look to be competing. And that was a sore one for me, because I don't ever mind getting. Listen, nobody wants to get beat, but you can handle getting beat. Everybody will lose games. It's a manner in which you lose them in. So that was a sore thing for me. But as I say, I know the boys well enough now. And Wednesday they bounced back in good style, and Saturday was every bit as important as what Wednesday was. So a week of training this week, and then look at this Saturday.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, and we'll be watching with excitement, see how you get on. And your touch on Craig Mark there, I think it was interesting, that first game of the season. A few people kind of said to me, "Oh, I didn't see that coming," but I think people need to recognise that again. We're talking about it. Craig Mark come down, and they've strengthened their squad really, really well, signing a lot of players from leagues above, in some of them. Right. And you guys coming up, it's like, I don't think it's no like, do you know what I mean? it's not like I don't know, Forfar going to play against Celtic or something. Do you know what I mean? It's
Johnny, that's the bit I'm probably trying to get to, the disrespectful. But for me, if I was in charge of Craig Martin, that's what my team talks would be built around. It. There's nothing. These guys are a right good outfit, very well drilled. They were a good team, and they deserved their victory in the second half. With a couple of contentious moments in the first one, I felt it went against us, but for whatever reason, we just weren't firing. So sometimes you just need to just take the medicine. But there's no great surprise. Craig Martin winning a game. They're a good team that have just come down, so they're going to be strong, aren't they?
Aye, and then must have really pleased you though to get that reaction on Wednesday.
Very much so, and I think the thing was, on the first 5-10 minutes we came out, you could see we were still trying to find our feet. But after the first 10 minutes, I felt we really took control of the game, and the boys were fantastic. And I genuinely believe if it had been 6 or 7 goals, the performance merited that. The boys were great, a really good reaction, like I knew I'd get for them. But as it's about the new younger boys that are coming in as well, understanding what we're saying, trusting in the process, and the older boys, the more experienced heads, know me, know what they're getting with the management team, and it's about them passing this on to these younger boys as well, and they were outstanding to a man on the Wednesday night. So much like I wouldn't have expected anything different from them, Johnny. The boys know the drill.
Tell me, I know we're kind of going on a bit, but I think it's good conversation. Tell me how, because I spoke on the show last Sunday with Dean, just talking about how midweek games, and if you do get a bad result on the Saturday and you don't have that opportunity to train on the midweek to analyse things and to look at things, how did you approach it on Wednesday? Did you change the team up, or did you alter anything, or did you just try and keep it as consistent as you could?
We got ourselves in on a Monday night just for a light session, but probably more than anything else, Johnny, was just to run over the analysis for the game, some of the points that we're a very open changing of. We'll chat, see what the boys think. Now we're all in it together, very much so. There's no daylight between any of us, but the Monday was just it was a light session, but it was more about just clearing the cobwebs off, kind of drawing a line in the sand, and then moving on. But the boys that have been with us for the last season as well, Johnny, know that we will change formation pretty frequently. We'll change things on about. So we made probably 4 or 5 changes for the Saturday, and it wasn't down to the boys. It wasn't down to their performance. It was just down to, as I say, I don't think we got things right as a management team on the Saturday. So we changed it around, and it was one of the nights that the changes worked. Everybody that came in and the team gelled in that shape well, and they took their chances. One of the boys that got a start on the Wednesday got a hat-trick, a really good hat-trick, like really top draw finishing. He went on and scored the winner yesterday. He played yesterday, he went on and led the line yesterday and scored the winner. So these wee things working for you, and boys, you're challenging boys and calling them out, and you're hoping that you're going to get that right reaction, and thankfully we have.
No, brilliant. Aye, good. Okay, so two teams that you've obviously came across already. Dean and Craig Martin met up in Stevenson.
Yeah.
Craig Martin run out 3-2 victors. How did you see that? How do you see that?
I thought it'd have been a tight game, Johnny, to be fair, because in the back of the game, I thought Ardea would want to bounce back. I think there was a couple of red cards in the game as well, one for each side, so I don't know what kind of effect that had on it. But I wasn't surprised to see Craig Martin go there and compete. We could see that on Wednesday, Saturdays. That's what I was saying. Although we get beat, and there's no disrespect in any of the teams, I thought they would go to Ardea and compete. So Sean, I know you'll have been bitterly disappointed yesterday at that one. But I think, as I said, there was a couple of reds in the game, and I don't know what kind of effect that had in it. But no great surprise. No, definitely not.
Mm-hmm. I spoke to Sean. He was just kind of saying that they started well, which was important to him after midweek, getting a good reaction from the boys. It was important, and they could have been in front. Then Craig Martin got a penalty. They don't react well enough. Started the second half well, changed a wee bit of the shape, and then obviously the red cards and stuff like that. They missed another couple. They could have got an equaliser, but fair play to Craig Martin, clinical, and took their chances. Did you find that against them, that they were clinical when they got chances? They took them, Craig Martin?
I thought so. I think they were quite happy. I think looking at our stats, Johnny, I think it was the most possession we had since I've come back as manager, bar one game. But I think with possession in all the wrong areas. and I think they were more than happy to let us sit. And then I think the old-fashioned statement would be they'd done a number on us in the second half. I think they were happy to let us sit with the ball where we weren't hurting them, and then they came in and pounced, and we made a couple of mistakes. And when we made the mistakes, they took their chances. So no, I wasn't surprised to hear that. To be a very decent.
Aye, sounds like that. I mean, I spoke to Jordan Banks as well, the Craig Mark striker. He's kind of echoed what Sean was saying, that the Ardea started well, and then second half they started well. But it sounds like Ardea have done fine, and then Craig Mark's just kind of caught them on not on the counter, but just kind of, as you said, done a number on them, caught them, exposed them, however you want to word it.
Aye, I think so. Like I say, I know Craig Mark were up at the game watching on the Wednesday night. I was chatting to the gaffer at half time. So he's obviously come up, travelled up to watch that to see, lets him see Ardea again. So a good result for them. A really good solid start for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And Port Glasgow, who also come up with you last season. Craig Mark play host to Port Glasgow this weekend, so that'll be a good one. PG was at the Port Glasgow game. He gave me a wee rundown of the St Anthony's Port Glasgow game. Just said it was pretty comfortable for the Port. He said St Anthony's were a bit one-dimensional, kind of playing up to Big Anson, but never really got up and supported them. But decent enough start for Port Glasgow to the season. Played 3, won 2, lost 1.
But that self, obviously losing opening game. I think away at Dalry. Listen, me too, to be fair. But I think losing that game, and then they thought to see them bounce back like that isn't a surprise. Me and you both know how good they are, and they've brought in good resources in the summer. So a good result. I think Monty in at the Ants, big rebuild for them. It's a tough challenge. And having to go getting Anson will be brilliant for him, but again, he'll be trying to get him to pass it on to some of the younger boys in the squad. So I think that'll be a tough one for them. But again, I think they'll get the time. I think Martin will get the time to build a squad there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so because he's obviously, I've had him on the show. I'll have him on again this season, hopefully. But he's good for the level. His enthusiasm and eagerness is great. Another promoted side, I think, was one of the results of the day. Easterhouse beating Yoker 4-1. Yoker had a great start to the season. Maybe shocking a couple of people with how strongly they started the season, but it's a really good result for the guys at Easterhouse. Obviously,
Yoker, I think, proximity-wise, they must be our closest rivals anyway. So a really good start for them. I mean, Fitzfinat 6-2, 3-0 Dalry was a massive result midweek, but the one yesterday, obviously, we know Easterhouse really well. Know Andy and the boys down there, really well drilled, good team, kind of know how they play. So that was probably more an interesting one for us because I thought that would let us gauge where everybody was. So the 4-1 in that game told us a lot, but a really good strong start for Yoker again. They went with Dom and that, brought them up for the 20s, total rebuild to the whole squad, and they've got a pretty youthful team as well. So I'll be interesting now. I'd like to we'll get and try and see a wee bit more of them, but a really good result for Easterhouse. Aye.
Mm-hmm. Yep, brilliant. Okay, into the 4th division now. Big East Kilbride derby, 3-all, a cracker, good game, good one for the neutrals there, but good for YM to get their first points of the season.
Gets them off and running, doesn't it? So always it's going to be a nice, tasty one for them. Obviously, I know East Kilbride Thistle well. I know Kano's in there, and there's a bit of a change. I think they've had quite a turnaround in players as well. But I know a few of the boys in East Kilbride Thistle, so they'll probably be a wee bit sorry for them because I think won the first game and drew that one. So I think they'll be expecting to do well this year.
I think YM were 3-0 up. No, they were 3-0 down. Right? Sorry. 3-0 down and then come back to win, back to draws 3 each. So that's one of those ones that almost feels like a victory.
It does, and I think Thistle beat Wishaw at 5-1 the week before away. So again, if you are then 3-0 up away from home, you're probably after a 5-1 win away from home, you're probably not thinking this is coming back to a 3-8. So that'll do the YM a wee, that'll give them a wee boost as well anyway.
Mm-hmm, definitely. What about BSC? Michael, great turnaround for them this season.
Yeah. Brilliant, Johnny. I know. So the boy that's went in there is head coach this year, Barry. We know Barry fairly well.
Barry he got in touch with me, so he's been giving me kind of updates and stuff like that. So good guy.
Good. And listen, great. So one of my old players is in there as well, and I think he scored midweek for them, and he's doing well. So he's brought in again couple of really youthful players. But I think there'll be there's already a massive improvement in where they were last year. So hopefully, again, building something good there, and I think they'll go on and have a solid season, which is brilliant to see after last year, which was fairly poor, and none of us want to see that. I mean, 100 odd goals lost. That's no fun for anybody, is it? Do you know what I mean? So playing against or playing for, so it'd be good it'll help our league as well.
I know. I'm just checking. I was double checking there that they've already beat last season's points tally already, 3 games in. And I spoke to Barry. He was messaging me, just saying that they had to dig in a bit. But one thing that I did take away from it is finished the game with 5 17-year-olds on the pitch.
That's it, and that'll be the thing. And there'll be some. Listen, there will be some tough fixtures in there in that league. Some really good football teams in there, including Eglinton in there as well. So the Albert will be strong, West Park. So you're looking going the Vale will be in there strong. So there will be some tough days ahead for them. But I knew he was going really youthful, and he's managed to get a couple of more experienced boys round about that. So fingers crossed. I hope it goes well for them.
Mm-hmm. Aye, definitely a team that maybe a wee bit surprised haven't got off the mat yet is St Peter's, who got a sore one on Saturday to getting beat 5-0 off Eglinton. I spoke to Kenny Henderson, the manager. Kenny's brilliant. One thing I'll say about Kenny, never shucks it. He's always like upfront and honest with his assessments and stuff like that. But says there was nothing in the first half, but Eglinton just blew them away. Again, 7 boys on holiday. Next week they've got a few boys back, but definitely beaten by the better side. But for Kevin Deeney and the guys getting in there at Eglinton, which was a big job as well, that's a really positive result for them.
Massive. I know obviously Kenny for last season, Maryland, chat to him, good guy, and I think he was quite happy where the rebuild was going. So to have started it with 2 blanks and 9 against, he'll be really feeling that. Do you mean going to West Park last week and getting 4-0 and then following that up at home? I think against Eglinton will be a really solid win from. But good start for the boys that have come in at Eglinton, a win and a draw. Away at New Mains, which is never easy to go. You're not going to go over there and be comprehensive. So I think they'll be good. I thought Eglinton were a really good team last year when we played them. We got to see them twice at the end of the season. And I thought that I know they've lost a few boys, but I thought they were a really decent team. So I think they'll fancy themselves in the kind of top spots this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And a team that I also think will be at the top will be Irvine Vicks, who have started the season really strongly, which you would expect for a team coming down. To start with 3 wins is great. Again, spoke to Ben Carson, the Irvine Vicks manager, who was just saying they were poor, gifted them 2 goals, went at half time 2 each. Never really get going second half. Game should probably have been a draw, but I think they scored with the last kick of the ball to win 4-3. Says they were miles off it, but great character to find a way to win. So it's good performance, isn't it?
A good midweek victory against Gifford and JD. So that's a decent start for them. Obviously, we never really got to see the Vicks. They came down as we went up, but I think they'll fancy a return if they can. A bounce straight back.
I think they'll be strong. I think they're one of the teams that I really fancy to be up the top end of the table, potential league winners. I was a bit surprised that Vale are leaving, beating Saltcoats comprehensively 4-0. Saltcoats have had a good start to the season, won their first 2 games. Vale are leaving, on the other hand, had a bit of a sticky start to the season. They'd lost their first game, but it's a really impressive result yesterday.
We'd seen the Vale in the Kilburn tournament as well, and a lot of good qualities. They, again, well drilled. They knew what they were doing, Jonny, and I thought they will cause problems in the 4th. But Saltcoats have started really well. We knew obviously they'd lost Ross Ingram in Ilkeston. Ross was a top player last year when we watched him, really, really good striker. But they were doing really well, and Stevie and the guys at Saltcoats had a right good solid start. So I was surprised to see that in a way. But again, without knowing too much about it, it was a bit of a surprise. But again, the Vale definitely had enough about them in their game plan the day we watched them to score goals and cause teams problems.
Mm-hmm. A team that I think is going to be up there this year, Michael, is Carluke. What's your thoughts on Carluke? You obviously came across them last year, but they finished last season really strong. They've started this season with 3 wins. I think they'll be up there.
We played them away near the end of the year, Jonny, and we got the win. but we got the win with a goal really late on, a good strike and ended up taking a deflection, but very hard working. I think at home, really tough to beat. I fancy them again. They seem to have signed well. They've kept the majority of the team together. I think Carluke will be one of the ones in that kind of top 5-6 spaces, Johnny.
No, absolutely. Right, I'm just going through my WhatsApp list to make sure I've not missed any managers that got back to me. Again, all the managers out there, I really appreciate it. I send the message out on a Sunday morning asking for a wee overview of the game so that I can talk about it in the show. If you like that, if it's going down well, then please let us know in the comments. It's something that I'll continue doing throughout the season, getting you some insight from the managers. I know there's a lot of social media stuff going out nowadays. I saw you doing a wee interview yourself yesterday, Michael, about the game. So, but it's always good to get a wee insight from the manager. So if you like it, then please let us know. But Michael, thanks very much again for coming on, giving up your time on this Sunday evening to talk about the West of Scotland Football League. It's always appreciated.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having us, Johnny. Thank you, and enjoy the V-Man's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, no, well, that's what I was going to say. I'm just going to finish off just by saying a happy birthday to my wee boy Jackson, who's 3 tomorrow. I don't think he'll not be watching. He's not interested. I think he's sitting downstairs. I think he's sitting downstairs watching the Paw Patrol movie. So, but just happy birthday to Jackson tomorrow. I love you. And
sounds like a better gig anyway, doesn't it? So,
I know.
You guys enjoy your day anyway, Johnny.
No, I will, mate. I will. Thanks very much. And remember, if you are watching the show on YouTube, please hit that like button. It means a whole lot to us. And subscribe to the Pyramid Promotions channel. If you're listening on audio form, please rate and review on all good podcast networks. Right, Michael, 149 goals across 40 games in the West of Scotland Football League. As always, value for money in the West of Scotland. So average is just over 3.7 goals a game. So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday afternoon, dig out a tenner and go and watch your local West of Scotland Football League team. Thanks very much to everybody that's watched, everybody that's interacted. Your comments and questions are much appreciated as always. And until next Sunday at 7 o'clock, I've been Jonny Baillie. He's been Michael Pender. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.